I'm Brett Hellman, CEO of Hall.com. Hall.com is an enterprise collaboration product for teams that's 100% real time. I mean, one of my big pet peeves with people giving advice is it's always very high level, but it's not practical. Okay, like how do I apply that? And that's the problem with things like keep it simple, stupid, like KISS, right? Like what is simple? Who's the judge? How do you know if something's really simple? And we've run into some issues with that as a team when building out parts of the product. So just an example. So Hall.com is all about collaboration. So you have these rooms where you communicate with each other, with your team members. So it's obviously really important for that first team member to be able to invite other team members. So we wanted to make that invitation experience super easy. So we thought it would be just this great idea if you had one input box and that when you typed, it would suggest contacts across all your services. So it would show you LinkedIn contacts and Facebook contacts and your email contacts. We thought that was the smartest thing ever. We thought it was so simple that it was one input box. We thought we were being incredibly clever. Well, it turns out that failed horribly. It was just a really bad idea. It was confusing users. They didn't know what to expect. It was too magical. It was just a total fail. And what we've learned in that process, there's been similar experiences like that anytime we're solving for something and we think we're being really clever, that's like a red flag. That's like a practical tool that you can use that if you think you're being really clever, that might be confusing to your users and not work outside of the team. And that's what we mean by don't try to be too clever all the time. For most startups, you have limited resources, and every day there's more and more that you want to do. And what happens is that your backlog grows faster than you can actually start knocking things out of the backlog. Right, there's just too much to do, and it can be really tempting at times to want to divide and conquer, to say, okay, this team member work on growth, this team member focus on retention. And that was something that was suggested to us, and we actually learned that that just doesn't work out. We tried the whole divide and conquer thing, and we don't recommend that. We don't do that anymore. So what we found is that you have much better results if the entire team focuses on one thing together. You'll have a much better outcome versus splitting up. And there's this Steve Jobs story that doesn't get told very often, but it's actually my favorite. And he talks about the beautiful pebbles that you see at the beach, right? The way those beautiful those pebbles used to be rocks, these really ugly rocks, right? And the way those rocks turned into pebbles was through friction, through the rocks rubbing up against each other. And that's kind of how we think about it at Hall.com, right? So if the team members aren't working on one thing together, you're not going to have that friction, you're not going to have that beautiful result, the pebbles. So we definitely believe in working on one thing together versus dividing and conquer across a small team.